It's not scientific
but the left certainly stayed scientific.
No, they didn't.
Why not?
Because they think gender that they went way too far with, that's not scientific.
But how did, I'm not trying to, how did they go too far with like gender stuff? And I'm not trying to
instead of, well, if I was teaching children, what I would teach them is there is a default setting for the human being, which is heterosexuality, but that doesn't mean every person is that, and we should completely respect everyone who isn't that.
If you're saying the left went too far with gender, maybe that was a function of, okay, these people are scared, they're being targeted, and we're watching them be targeted right now. We're watching transgender people be targeted in a very aggressive way. So
we are? Where?
Oh my God.
Where are they being targeted? I mean,
let's start with a moment that says a lot about where our culture is right now. The exchange between Bill Maher and Patton Oswalt wasn't just uncomfortable. It was revealing. It showed what happens when two people believe they share the same values but are actually operating from very different realities. Once you notice it, it's hard to ignore. Before we dive in, if you enjoy thoughtful commentary that explores uncomfortable conversations without shouting, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and join the discussion in the comments. This one will probably give you something to think about. What made this conversation so interesting is that both Maher and Oswalt are longtime liberals. Yet the discussion felt like it came from two entirely different worlds. This wasn't a traditional left versus right debate. It was more about lived reality versus insulated perspectives. The conversation quickly turned to gender, a topic that now seems to shut down dialogue the moment it's mentioned. Maher made a simple observation. The political left once emphasized science, and he believes that focus has shifted. Oswalt immediately rejected that idea. Maher wasn't questioning anyone's humanity or denying anyone's existence. He was pointing out something that used to be considered common ground, that biological patterns exist, that most people fall into them, and that recognizing exceptions doesn't require denying the rule. His argument was about balance, not exclusion. Yet in today's climate, even framing the topic that way feels controversial. Maher explained that a healthy society recognizes reality while also respecting differences. What he sees now is less about tolerance and more about strict ideological alignment. Oswalt appeared genuinely puzzled by how Maher arrived at that conclusion, highlighting how differently the same cultural shifts are perceived depending on where someone gets their information.
If you're saying the left went too far with gender, maybe that was a function of, okay, these people are scared, they're being targeted, and we're watching them be targeted right now. We're watching transgender people be targeted in a very aggressive way. So
we are? Where?
Oh my God.
Where are they being targeted?
That disconnect became even clearer when the conversation turned to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oswalt spoke about her with real enthusiasm, describing her as a symbol of the Democratic Party's future. Energetic, charismatic, and inspiring. Maher didn't dismiss her personally, but he challenged the assumption that she has broad national appeal. He argued that while AOC connects strongly with a highly engaged progressive audience, many voters outside that space see her as too ideological or disconnected from everyday concerns. Maher even referenced reporting from mainstream outlets noting that Democrats may need to move closer to the center to regain broader support. Oswalt's response suggested that if voters feel alienated by her message, the problem lies with the country rather than the candidate.
If she had some deprogramming, she could be such a fantastic candidate.
What do you mean deprogramming?
Well, she just doesn't, she's never going to resonate with people outside of the bubble that she lives in the very, very far left.
Well.
And that, I mean, the New York Times, of all people, the people I've been like squabbling with for the last 7, 8, 10 years, whatever, when I was all about, Democrats have gone too far left, they just put out a huge editorial basically saying exactly what I've been saying.
What, that she's too far left?
Yes, and that the only way the Democrats will ever win again, not that the Republicans are probably going to give it back, is to be more moderate. But we don't have to argue about her.
That response revealed a deeper mindset. The idea that if people disagree, it must mean something is wrong with them. Maher pushed back strongly, emphasizing that disagreement is a core part of democracy, not a flaw in it. Millions of Americans choosing not to support a particular political figure doesn't make them uninformed or malicious. It means they prioritize different issues. Oswalt suggested that the country hasn't progressed as much as it believes, pointing to past political reactions as evidence. While there's room to acknowledge unresolved national challenges, this framing shifts responsibility away from leaders and messaging. If voters react negatively, it's framed as a failure of the public rather than a need for reflection from those in power. Maher saw that as dismissive rather than constructive.
If people think she's too far left, then that shows another way this country's broken right now.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily broken in that way, but it just shows how the country is not there. That is not where the country is, and if you don't...
Unfortunately, okay, that's the one thing, and I hate to admit this, this country is not as mature as it thinks it is. We elected Obama, and clearly the country freaked out. We're still living in that freak out. We are not as progressed and evolved and intelligent as we think we are because we keep freaking out.
Yeah.
Maher then flipped the argument, suggesting that the country itself hasn't become unreasonable. Certain public figures have become disconnected. He pointed to issues people face daily, such as public safety, housing, immigration, and education. These aren't abstract debates for most Americans. Maher returned to his earlier point about science and evidence, listing areas where he believes ideology has overtaken practical decision-making. Oswalt continued asking for clarification, but even when examples were given, he seemed surprised, as if these debates existed somewhere outside his awareness.
Left freak out too. The left freaked out about a lot of too.
What did they freak out about?
Gender, race, parenthood, schools, homelessness, crime, the border, education. Like we stopped being a scientific.
At one moment, Oswalt admitted that the pace of change feels overwhelming to him. That admission mattered. It showed the issue isn't about intelligence or intent, but environment. When everyone around you shares similar views, ideas that might seem extreme elsewhere start to feel normal. Perspective narrows without people realizing it.
It's not scientific.
But the left certainly stayed scientific.
No, they didn't.
Why not?
Because they think gender that they went way too far with, that's not scientific.
But how did I'm not trying to. How did they go too far with like gender stuff? And I'm not trying to
instead of if I was teaching children, what I would teach them is there is a default setting for the human being, which is heterosexuality, but that doesn't mean every person is that, and we should completely respect everyone who isn't that. But we understand that that's called a minority, and what makes us a great country is that we respect minorities. We don't think they're lesser just because they're lesser in numbers. That's not what we started to teach.
The conversation then shifted to birth certificates and sex classification. Maher mentioned proposals and policies aimed at removing or delaying sex markers. Oswalt didn't recall those discussions happening at all. Maher insisted they had, noting examples from certain states where such ideas were actively debated or implemented. Oswalt's reaction summed up the core issue. Those discussions never entered his media space. These policies aren't theoretical. They affect families, schools, and institutions. Yet someone deeply engaged in cultural commentary had barely encountered them, showing how filtered information can be.
Which was that every baby is, I don't know, let's not even put it on the birth certificate. That's what they wanted.
Were we teaching that?
Yes, we were.
When were we teaching that?
Teaching it. It was a law here in California. See,
to teach what?
Don't put sex on the birth certificate. We'll see. Now, we've passed that period now.
I'm sorry, I don't remember that. I mean,
I know, because it doesn't get in the blue sky bubble.
Wait a minute, I'm not just on blue sky.
I really think that's a lot of it, is that some of this stuff doesn't get in to everybody's media.
When the topic moved to claims of targeting, the gap widened further. Oswalt argued that transgender individuals are being unfairly singled out. Maher asked where that targeting was occurring. Oswalt referenced broader cultural scapegoating. Maher countered by distinguishing between personal hostility and policy debate. He argued that raising questions about laws or standards isn't the same as attacking people. In his view, open discussion has increasingly been labeled as harm, leading to professional and social consequences for dissenting opinions. Maher wasn't denying challenges faced by marginalized groups. He was questioning who actually holds the power to silence whom.
If you're saying the left went too far with gender, maybe that was a function of, okay, these people are scared, they're being targeted, and we're watching them be targeted right now. We're watching transgender people be targeted in a very aggressive way. So
we are? Where?
Oh my God.
Where are they being targeted? I mean, like everybody is being targeted to a degree. I feel like...
But not scapegoated the way that transgender people are.
Scapegoated for what? Who's scapegoating them?
Every school, every shooting is a transgender person.
Not every the ones that are...
But that's how they frame it, though. And that's how you talked about my blue sky bubble, but the Newsmax Fox bubble that's what's feeding those people.
Sweetheart, my editorial last week was tearing...
He called me.
The pattern repeated when Maher brought up issues in the United Kingdom. Oswalt admitted he hadn't been following developments related to immigration, social tensions, or public safety concerns there. Maher also referenced long-standing institutional failures that harmed vulnerable people, stories that had real victims and lasting consequences. Oswalt was unfamiliar with those as well. The point wasn't blame, but awareness. When ideology filters which stories are amplified, serious problems can persist without accountability. Ignoring reality doesn't solve it. It allows issues to grow.
What's going on in England right now is a lot of that. I mean, like...
What's going on in England?
Again, not in the bubble.
Okay, well...
Doesn't get in the bubble.
Wait a minute, just tell me.
It really doesn't. It's a big... I don't even want to start with it, but it's like just a lot of violence, protests, immigration, cities that Andrew Sullivan, for example, says are places that my grandfather would not even recognize anymore as British.
Maher then made a broader observation about priorities. If the goal is to confront injustice, he argued, attention should also be given to places where severe inequality is enforced by law, not just debates over language in open societies. Whether people agree or not, the comment highlighted a question about focus and scale.
It can be too much, but a lot of times the way that things are framed and represented is also amplified so that they can make their point.
But like, do you know about the what do they call it when they get kids to, like, grooming, the grooming scandal?
No.
See, that's a big story.
This is in the UK.
Yes, that went on from like the 80s to the present, and it wasn't a...
You're talking about the royal family.
No, I'm not.
By the end, the exchange felt less like a debate and more like a case study. Oswalt represented a worldview where disagreement signals moral failure. Maher represented a willingness to critique his own side and question whether current strategies are effective. The concern isn't that Maher is right about everything. It's that many influential voices may not realize how far removed they've become from everyday experiences. When feedback is filtered out, policies drift, and the consequences are felt by people with the least influence.
Gender apartheid should be your #1 issue. If you really care about oppression, like a lot, I'm talking about hundreds of millions of the world's women, and it's mostly because of the tenets of Islam, to be perfectly honest about it. And this is what's going on in England, and this is why England is having a big problem these days.
So the real question becomes this: how sustainable is that disconnect? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely interested in where you stand. And if this breakdown added value to your perspective, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more thoughtful discussions, and I'll see you in the next one.